The podcast you're about to hear is my 51st Takes podcast that was around 2 years ago. We only did about 7 episodes, but here they are, and I'm bringing them into the Pat Rick Productions brand, and I'm going to be continuing it here on the YouTube channel, looking into maybe pushing it out to other mediums here soon. So I hope you enjoy. Some of the movies are a little bit older, but there's some of the ones that are still fun to watch today. So I hope you enjoy them. Hello, my name is Patrick, and welcome to 51st Takes, your number one home for movie reviews and takes on this week's box office movies. Today I have a very special guest, Mr. Cedric Ware Esquire. He just passed the bar. I'm very proud of him, and we took him out for plenty of drinks when that happened. Say hi, Cedric.
How's it going? I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Patrick.
No problem. Cedric is one of my really close friends from college. He's the one that taught me how to shoot the basketball. And talking about basketball, this week's movie is Uncle Drew. Hey, what did you think of Uncle Drew?
It's a fun movie, fun film. I will say Kyrie Irving definitely stepped up from his U2.
Talk about stepping up. He stepped over a couple people in this movie quite often, right?
Oh yeah, definitely a great amount of crossovers, great amount of athleticism from him. Also, Aaron Gordon didn't cease to amaze anyone, definitely jumping over people, just slamming it.
Yeah, if he could have used some of those dunks this past season in the dunk contest, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I would love to see that on the actual court from him, but, starring in movies and playing basketball may be a little bit too much.
Yeah, Uncle Drew, before we go off on too much of a tangent, directed by Charles Stone III, starring Kyrie Irving and Lil Ray Howard. Both Howie, is that Howie?
I think it's Howery.
Howery. See, that's my pronunciation right there. Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Webber, Reggie Miller, just a few NBA stars that were in this movie. Before we start, the purpose of the film. Too often, I think we get into when we watch movies, we expect them to be Oscar-winning or the actual. We expect them to be something greater than what it actually aspires to be. This film is, I think, everyone understands exactly what it is. You're supposed to go there, watch some kind of unrealistic basketball theatrics, but theatrics are very entertaining. We talked about Kyrie just crossing people up left and right, and then some of the old stars from the NBA being able to show what they can still do on the basketball, which is probably better than anything I can do. So, would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would definitely say that again. It's one of those movies where you already know that Kyrie's going to bring you the entertainment. The stars are going to bring you entertainment as well. You have like amazing basketball talent, even from the WNBA as well, with Lisa Leslie being in there, getting to see her play a little bit. Also, I do really enjoy the fact that it's like, you're going to laugh during this movie. It's definitely a child-friendly film where you have like Tiffany Haddish, Little Rel Howery, and Nick Kroll, all really popular comedians, definitely on the high rise recently, especially Little Rel Howery and Tiffany Haddish. You may know Little Rel from Get Out and his big play. I think we saw like another preview, so he's probably going to have another movie out here in the next year or so. Tiffany Haddish has just been blowing it up, honestly, especially with like co-stars with Kevin Hart in some of his films as well.
Most definitely, but no movie is without its faults. Because, like I said, I was very entertained through this movie. Some of the quips that they have just made me die laughing. If you're a huge basketball fan, you're going to understand everything in this film. And but no, like I said, no film is without its problems, and this is definitely had plenty of problems. One of the main is just the main plot of the whole entire thing, where the main character, Dax, played by Lil Ray, his whole motive from the movie is kind of thrown away. I felt like, where they kind of focused more on Uncle Drew and his relationships with his teammates, and they kind of played more into that whole aspect versus focusing on the actual main character himself, is Lil Ray. So they kind of threw that aside towards, it was like they only spent like 2 minutes of the film, and that's when Uncle Drew was just pretty much sitting him down and giving him a little pep talk. But outside of that, that's one of the big problems that, from a plot perspective, I felt. Did you see anything else?
I would definitely agree with that. I'm not gonna walking into the film name, saying Uncle Drew, seeing what Kyrie has done with the YouTube videos, getting a chance to see what he can do with a blockbuster film. I was a little surprised to see that they took the route with Little Rel being the main character of this film, and when you start up with his problems and you just kind of, like you said, like pass him to the side a little bit, and you just go into more and more about like Uncle Drew and his team's faults. I would say another thing for me was just the constant like back and forth almost with certain players on Uncle Drew's teams, where it's not necessarily like everyone has their faults. It's just like one specific, him and Big Man or Big Fella always had, like they had like some type of beef going on, but you never really, like they always touch the surface and then they dodge it and run away with it and go somewhere else, and then they touch it again and then run away. It's like almost like prevent themselves from resolving the beef in multiple times throughout the film.
And even when they finally do resolve, I felt like it was kind of like just a throwaway, even with that, where I'm not going to go into too much details without spoiling it, but it's just like they built this tension up so much. I would feel it would take something like really meaningful for people to resolve it. I would think about if you and your best friend ever had a falling out. Think of how hard that would be, that to resolve that, and they kind of did that, but it was just a throwaway also with that. But the one thing I did like plot wise was very predictable, but it made the movie complete, because I feel like too many aspects when movies will have these plot points and it just won't make it actually a complete movie. And that is with Lil Ray, or Dax's character, overcoming Dax's adversity with the film. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially, I would say definitely iron back out, where you start off with him being the main character. You do go into Uncle Drew's type of story, but I did like that they wrapped it back up with him as well, just making the movie start to finish ending properly.
Yeah, moving on from the actual plot itself, let's talk about the themes itself. And I think this is actually where one of the strongest part of the film itself was the actual main theme of playing basketball the right way. And it's more than just playing basketball, it's how you live your life. And you live your life, one of the things that you miss 100 shots that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And that is riddling throughout the whole entire movie. And it's very important, I think, for even if I was told this when I was younger, it's a very important message for everyone to even learn. What would you say about that?
I would definitely agree with the theme that I like how they correlated basketball into life, especially where you see like the love of the game is what really passes through a lot. It's like there's a big, great diversity going on, and the film with different type of themes going on, but it all routes back to basketball, that there are some things that you can learn and take away from the court and apply to your real life. One of my favorite parts, like the theme of like that, it's a teams. It's about playing it the right way, playing it for teams, not playing it for show, not playing to stand out, but you're playing it like a well-oiled machine with the four other people with you on the court there. And it's just a mindset that you're not alone out there either, just like how people have in life. You have family out here. You're not necessarily alone in the world. There's someone out there, some people out there who care about you and love you and will be there to support you, just as there are four other people on the court with you.
Definitely. I feel that family every Monday when we play basketball. Ain't that right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sure, we talk trash, but it's all in good fun.
Yeah, hashtag ball is life. The other, I think, a strong part, moving on from the actual main theme, is the soundtrack in this. I was loving it, and I know we watched it together just last night, and we were both just jamming out to the soundtrack itself. I had some old school, I had some new school, I had some mixed. Yeah, I know you're a big music fan.
It was a really good soundtrack. I actually checked it out a little bit before the movie, but I didn't want to listen to too much of it to ruin it because I wanted to see how they incorporated some of the soundtrack. I saw a lot of like a couple of Future songs or Future being in there. I believe I'm not 100% certain. It sounded like Kendrick had one song,
a little bit, yeah.
like some ad-libs are going on with that, but great mixture of an album with like some old school vibes, new school vibes. Definitely love the ending. I think Kyrie actually is on the last track at the end.
Really? I didn't notice that one. But yeah, I mean, the soundtrack was just phenomenal. That's probably one of the soundtracks I might go and download after I get done here. And then visual things, I mean, it all surrounded pretty much the basketball court. I mean, there's not too much visually done. There is a nice little tiny car chase that kind of was really funny with lights driving. And once you see the movie, you understand how scary that can be. But yeah, I mean, visually, there's not much going on in the film.
I mean, I would say I like the aspect of like because it's Uncle Drew, as you know, goes from park to park.
Yeah.
And the YouTube thing, they definitely carry that theme with this. That mindset is like park to park playing. So you definitely have that aspect like street basketball that you have to take into account. It's not necessarily like a gym, not like a real like scoreboard, like a fan base. It's more of like there's people around you watching this happen. You have like you're getting the crowd easily entertained into it, and I will say that's what I like visually with the film. You'll see like people getting really into the basketball game. Like you'll see like with the dunks, the high flying, the shots, the trash talking.
Yeah.
Even I believe JB Smoove is also in the movie. He's one of the legends as far as like an MC with basketball.
Yeah.
So it's great to see like what his commentary going on during the game. This really brings back like if you ever feel like NBA Street Volume 2.
Yeah.
It definitely reminded me of like that aspect where you have like the people in the crowd like you dunk the ball, they're like, yeah, look at him go. And
NBA Street Volume 2, Biggie Smalls was my favorite guy.
it's Biggie Littles, but
Biggie Littles? I thought it was Biggie Smalls.
Biggie Smalls is a rapper.
Oh, tells you how much I know. Anyways, if I was in any sort of extra in any movie, I would love to be an extra in this movie.
Absolutely.
Just to see like all the dunks, all the handles, just to be there live at Rucker. Because I've been in New York, but never actually been to Harlem side of New York, so I never actually been able to experience true street basketball outside of me just playing pickup with my friends. But I know you come from the Canton area. Is there a big street basketball scene up there?
I mean, in Canton you have a lot of like basketball parks like Harmon, you have Waterworks where you'll see a lot of people. If you go out to the suburbs, you'll also see a lot of people out there too. It's really just one of those things where you meet up with a bunch of people. If you have your four, if you yourself, you have your five, you sometimes will drive around and just go from park to park, see who you can play. I know like there's Malone as well. They have like an outdoor basketball court that a lot of people like to meet up on. 30th Street has a basketball court a lot of people like to meet up on. You just try to find it wherever you can, get that basketball recreation in, hoop rec as we say, wherever you can get it.
Like I said, I've never actually witnessed street basketball outside of just normal pickup games with my friends at the Cap Center. But did this movie incorporate the idea of street basketball in the film form?
I would say definitely. I mean, of course, there was like some structure with it being a tournament style. If you've ever seen White Man Can't Jump, it kind of correlates with that, but it adds like the 5-on-5 aspect.
Yeah.
I will say definitely incorporate street basketball. You still have people trash talking. You still have some people on the side who may not even be in the game that you either have to address, or sometimes you can't address after you're making your shot. You just look at them, or you can say something, just remind them, like, hey, like I just made that. Or you see dunks, like it's really like very vocal. I would say more so than what I would see in like an actual court with like wood flooring, referee, crowds, of course, being into it, but you're taught to be like more reverent in that mindset. I would say it definitely incorporated that street basketball. Like you can be vocal and you can say whatever you want. You can talk trash whenever you want. Yeah. Just as long as you back it up, it's fine.
Yeah, definitely. We had some trash talk this past Monday. I know one of our friends, Martin, was not too happy with me. But moving on here, we talked about the very beginning about the purpose of the film, and obviously this film has plenty of plot issues that we can talk about probably all day and probably rip to shreds. But I mean, that's not the purpose of this film. The purpose of this film is to go out there, have time, spend time with your family even, and just be entertained. So with that, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I laughed a lot. You guys know how I do my rankings. I do it based off of rewatchability. So 1 out of 5 is actually what I'm gonna give this movie. I'll go to see this film once out of 5 times. It's kind of a Hallmark type of quality film. So I mean, I'll go see it once because I know Kyrie, and besides him leaving Cleveland, I actually do like Kyrie as a player. So yeah, I'll go see it once in the theaters just to support Kyrie and support the Uncle Drew YouTube phenomenon. How about you? What would you rank it at?
I would also give it a 1 out of 5. I mean, honestly, it'd be different if I like watched it by myself. It definitely is a film that I would like to watch again, but not necessarily in theaters. I definitely would be patient enough for it to come out.
Maybe a Netflix or maybe something on this. I feel like this would be on BET.
Oh,
Yeah.
probably. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends. It's not necessarily like BT likes to definitely focus on that, but I think if it first pops out, it'll probably definitely be Netflix. You'll see
Yeah.
it more. I think it'll be more popular with Netflix too, being like one of those fun films you can watch at home. Honestly.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's our rankings for that. So moving on to the next portion of the film. Don't really have any fan questions, but I do have a very special guest, and that is Cedric here. So I'm just going to ask him a couple questions here. And the very first and most important question here, and I get this question a lot, which I will answer at a later time, is what is your 5 favorite movies, Cedric?
Okay. Oh man. I'll say with my 5, it's more about like rewatchability, the theme of your show.
Yep.
These are films that I could watch back to back and still enjoy every minute of them. Number 1, I have The Godfather.
Nice.
I enjoy that film constantly. I saw it on like
All 3 or just the first one?
Just one right now.
Just one right now.
Just one right now. I mean, I do like Part 2 as well. It's in my top 5.
Part 2 is usually known as the best sequel ever. Part 2 and Empire Strikes Back are notoriously known as the best sequels ever in movie history.
I do love Part 2. The reason I put number 1 before is just, for me, I love just the transformation of Michael, its mindset in the family, and that's why I put it above Part 2.
Yeah.
But I love Part 2 for the backstory of Vito Corleone and how he came to America and his experience in becoming the Godfather.
Yeah. The other reason why I asked that is in my top 5 ranking, one of them, shockingly, is Star Wars. And people ask which one, and I just say Star Wars. So that's why I really asked is it just Godfather, or is it specific just one of the Godfathers?
Yeah, I can't get Part 3 in there. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
But I love the first 2. I love watching them over and over again.
Definitely.
Another film in there is Inception. I really
Nice.
do enjoy the film. I love the mindset with it, and the definitely like the attention to detail you have to have with that film. I watch that over and over, and I find something new that I missed the first time,
Definitely.
and that definitely like encourages me to watch it more.
One of Christopher Nolan's best works. What is it? His best movie? It's obviously you think it's probably Christopher Nolan's best movie. I'm trying to think. It's either that. I mean, superhero wise, it's Dark Knight with Heath Ledger as the Joker. What else is up there? I'm blanking here. What are other Nolan's movies? The Prestige, that's up there. Yeah, with another Christian Bale.
I believe that's
Is that Christian Bale?
I want to say that's definitely the magician movie, correct?
Yes. Yeah. That's Christian Bale and who plays his co-star? Crap. Because one is Houdini and the other one is. I'll come back to that. I'm terrible with movie trivia. I'm definitely not going to be on the movie trivia schmodown anytime soon. But I will come back to that one. I'm interrupting you.
And the last 2, Pulp Fiction and Training
Classic.
Day. Again, Pulp Fiction is probably one of my favorite ones to rewatch. I've actually tried to piece it together backwards because a lot of people say like, oh, it actually plays backwards. That's chronologically.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy. I would say it's probably my favorite John Travolta movie, honestly. But,
Yeah, well, that's not really hard to get to.
but I also enjoy Samuel L. Jackson in it, and just as like the different side stories, I like that type of progression with it.
Yeah.
Definitely keeps my attention going.
Talk about John Travolta. Are you going to see God anytime soon?
Probably not. I may just wait, just wait.
The epic 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't really like to use Rotten Tomatoes. Talk about Uncle Drew, I had 50%, and it's a flip of a coin at that point. But the fact that it has 0, I know there's been some between critics and that movie. There's been some heat between them and them trying to muff their audience score up a little bit by creating fake accounts, but that's a very interesting story. Go to social media if you it gets pretty heated, and the Gotti's Twitter account will actually attack critics, like tweet at them. It's hilarious.
Oh. And again, with Training Day, I am a big Denzel Washington fan. I enjoy Training Day. Just again, the correlation of how we may perceive a position of like a police officer, detective is, and just how sometimes the reality of a situation may be a little bit different than what you see on the surface. And I like just the ferocity that he brings to that film. And almost all his films, a lot of people say he plays like the same type of character, which I don't know. I enjoy that type of character. Definitely keeps me entertained.
Definitely. What's moving on to the next question? What's the most anticipated movie that is coming out for the rest of 2018 that you want to go see?
Oh man. That is actually a really tough question. I would probably say I'm more excited for Ant-Man and Wasp. Just to start off, like just keep 2018 rolling with the superhero movies, especially after Infinity Wars. I want to see what he has been doing. Yeah. Because like Black Panther was definitely a big pull up to Infinity Wars. Definitely started it off right. Got me excited for it. After seeing Infinity Wars, now I'm curious like what the superheroes who were elsewhere occupied may have been up to, just to see in my mind how that may correlate moving into 2019.
Yeah, definitely. Ant-Man and the first Ant-Man, unpopular opinion, is actually up there with one of my favorite Marvel movies. I like the heist film aspect, so very unpopular opinion, I know, but I'm excited to see it. That comes out next weekend. Plugging next week's show will be Ant-Man, so thank you for that very smooth segue there. Thank you very much again, Cedric, for coming onto the show. I think we had a blast watching Uncle Drew. I think the fans out there for listening, if you have any questions for me, you can go ahead and tweet at me at 51st Takes, or you can send me a nice little email at 51sttakes@gmail.com. I will get to all those questions, and I'll say your name and you'll be on the show indirectly. But yeah, that's it for this week's show. Tune in again next week for Ant-Man. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks again for having me, Patrick.
No problem.